game week coming up looks to be absolutely massive. I'm really looking forward to get stuck into it. I've bought some more players. I've did some more trading. We'll go through that as we come to it. In the game week we're just coming out of, I think I'm going to be getting my hands, hopefully, on a tier 1 rare, which would be absolutely fantastic. But also tonight we've got a special guest joining us. It's Ian, the man himself, leads our way at SoRare Info, whatever you want to call him. Law Dog, thanks a lot for joining us.
All right, Quinny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good.
So thanks a lot for joining us, mate. This game week we're just coming out of. Is there anything from that actually I'm just going to plumb this through so that there we go. This game week, how did you get on yourself, mate? Anything exciting?
Nothing too exciting. Taremi let me down big time by getting sent off in the Porto game on Friday night. I had a chance on the Challenger Division 3.
Yeah.
But I've hit my usual 0.2F on the Division 4 Global, which is
clockwork.
Which is my target, obviously, because it keeps me in the game, it keeps me ticking over.
Anything exciting? Yep. You there?
Yeah, Quinny,
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate.
Sorry, pal. I don't know what happened there. It just went completely dead.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I've hit my usual 0.2F, which is nice. Keeps me ticking over. So yeah, it's all good, mate. To be fair, the only thing I've noticed this game week is some very unusual low scores from players who were expecting it higher. And I don't know whether you've seen as well. Shout out to Mike Baston, who produced his Division 4 Global side. I think he hit about 380 odd points with a common goalkeeper in.
Mikey boy did.
Absolute fantastic effort. I think the gods haven't been kind to him, because I spoke to him earlier, and I think he's just dropped out for a tier 3, which again isn't bad, versus 2F. But outstanding effort, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
well deserved as well.
That's a good one for sure. I talk to Mike quite regularly, so it's good to hear he's bagged something this game week, because he does seem to have some sodden luck. So that's good to hear. Good stuff.
It just proves as well, Quinny, and it's something I stress, like especially on Twitter, in with regards to when you draft common goalkeepers. It's so important at the very beginning when you open the account. Common goalkeepers, especially if you're on a small budget, they're crucial. Yeah. You know, I think it's the most important bit of advice that I could give anyone who is looking to sign up on that draft. Concentrate on getting 3, if you can, 4 good common goalkeepers. You know, because Mike has proved it. I've done it on a number of occasions. I know lots of users have done it. You can win rewards with common goalkeepers.
Oh yeah,
and it saves a fortune.
At the beginning, and I was saying that on, I know you've been on the platform for a while, so I wouldn't expect you to have, but on the latest kind of new to SoRare playlist thing, when I've done that, I was talking about the commons and see like the change that they've made in it. I think it's went under the radar a little bit, because it is like a slight buff, because before, the difference between a common and a rare, I'll forget the numbers exactly, but let's say it used to be like a third. So I think like a common used to be kind of worth about a third of a rare, the way the multipliers used to work. And I think now they're kind of worth about half of a rare. So when you go from a third of a score to half of a score, or I can't remember exactly how it all panned out, but there's a video there if somebody wants to go and check me on it. But you know, they are now stronger than they ever previously were. And when you are starting out, goalkeepers are the one that there's just no getting away from it. It is going to cost you some money. So the better ones you can get in common version, you know, like I had Navas this week shoot at 75, and if you had Navas on, let's say, level like maybe 5 or something, you'd be losing 45% of that score, but you'd still end up with like about around the 40ish mark, wouldn't you? Around the kind of 35. Just tried to do that maths off the top of my head, but yeah, about 36 or something. Which for a common goalkeeper to shoot you 36 net after the discount for being a common is a decent score if you get players around that.
Well, I still argue that a good common goalkeeper is as good as a poor rare.
Yeah, well,
in terms of score.
There'll be rare goalkeepers that would have scored less than a common Navas this game week, and even the boy you were just schooling me up on, Tolan of Mechelen, Thoelen. These guys, like, you know, if you can get over 70 for a goalkeeper, that's an absolute slam dunk. It probably saved my game week entry, if I'm being honest. I'll just pull it up on screen so everyone can have a wee peek to see where we're at. It was my biggest team. It was a team that, you know, global D3 is always where I try and put my strength, just because I say it all the time, but if, you know, when you are going, or when you are feeling strong, you've got some cards that you feel that the fixtures are falling kindly for, or their form's about to peak at the right time, or whatever, the globals have the biggest payouts, you know. So for me, that's where the strength. And don't get me wrong, there's other motives and caveats to the other regions and other competitions and whatever. But for me, I always like to have my strength in the global, just because if you're going to finish first, it's the biggest payout, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I always target it as my main strength, purely to keep collecting the 0.2F, you know, because like I said, it keeps me in the game. It keeps me ticking over. It funds purchases, you know, that I couldn't afford to do otherwise. You know, some weeks I'll bank it up and wait to buy a player like for, I don't know, 50, 60 quid. It doesn't seem a lot to a lot of people, but it is to me. And
money's money.
I wouldn't have had that opportunity to buy players like that if it wasn't for regularly collecting 0.2F every game week, you know. So it's vital. And
did you get all the enhancements over Christmas? Did you get the 0.4s when they were going? Did you get them all?
I did, Quinny. It's fantastic promotion, to be fair. And thankfully, I bagged it. I think it was the 3 game week. So basically, you're talking 120 quid, Quinny, you know.
Aye, easily. I only got 0.1. I'm on one of the game weeks. I got the lower threshold. I think I had a few DNPs or something, but
right.
I didn't quite scrape it through on one of them. But the other two I did. But that's great to hear. And I don't find it surprising, because seeing I was actually looking at the fixtures, I was thinking these little niche game weeks will be right up your street, because you've probably got lots of little players that would be featuring in these types of little matches. Because I was looking at them and it was like the smaller end Belgian clubs and that kind of thing that maybe had some fixtures here and there, and I was thinking, oh, I'm just so light in this area of the market. But there was some guys obviously still able to field full teams, and brilliant. But yeah, well done to you, mate. Well done. Just looking at it, Navas is my second best player this game week, behind the Scottish Ruben Diaz himself, Jack Hendry.
Jack Hendry.
And I didn't actually realise how well Joe David scored. I didn't actually put him in a game week at all. But he's shot 75, so I'm going to need to keep my eyes on him now. He's back to form. And Fabio Silva scored a goal. I did predict it on the last stream. I did say in the derby, the £35 million forward has to get a goal, and he did. Didn't actually pull the trigger and put him in, but nice to see Snodgrass get 43 in a game he lost. And I don't think there's anything else too exciting to really chat about. You can maybe see some of the purchases I've just made if you see this list. But yeah, I love these little features on SoRare data. And if you, how are you getting on with the SD11, Ian?
I'm not doing too. It's funny because someone tweeted me last night or DM'd me, and to be fair, Quinny, I'd forgotten all about it because
oh no,
I'd entered my teams, but I just completely, because I was more concerned because I was paired up in the other competition on the SoRare data against, is it SoRare?
Yep.
With all his uniques and things. He's got a fantastic collection, to be fair to him. So I was more preoccupied with trying to pull off an upset, basically, which didn't happen. Not by far, mind. But the tournament where you entered 11, I'm doing I think I'm about 80th.
Oh, really?
In the on the live leaderboard. I'm just checking because I might be further down. Oh, I'm 90th now. So, you know, I'm happy with that, Quinny. You know, it's
I'm trying to get it on screen. I'm circa 26 for something like that. I'm actually doing quite well, which I'm happy about. I don't even know what the price structure is for it. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, brilliant. So I'm 26.
I've got no idea, mate. I've got no idea.
If there isn't one, I'm not bothered. It's good just for a light competition, but if...
it's fun. To be fair to SoRare data, you know...
No obligation at all.
The competitions are entered in, or
Yeah,
they're opening up to the community. It's just superb. You know, it's so hats off to them as well. You know, because it's just making things a little bit more interesting, as well as just competing for like rewards on SoRare, obviously. So yeah, that's off to them. It's a very good idea.
I went 3-4-3 for that game week, and I think I definitely should have had some of my subs on. Mancini shooting a 64. That would have been a great back three if I put him in as a Sardella, but I wasn't too sure about that being a derby. But they lost 3-0 and he still scored a 64, which is so bizarre. But
sometimes you better, you know, because of the research I'm doing on these players, sometimes, even though you won't expect them to hit like big scores when they take a hammering and stuff, but sometimes defenders who are playing for poorer teams, so they're in action more and they're clearing the ball, bloody tackling or whatever they're doing, their scores, even though they get penalised for conceding, because they're in the action and they're defending all the time, they can hit big scores even though they can concede like 2 or 3, you know. So it's I've looked at that angle because I've looked at some of the weaker teams in Belgium on some of the defenders.
Oh, Jack Hendry.
And I think, well, yeah, absolutely. And you know, one of my favourites, Cameron Humphreys. You know, the scores he's producing, and they're not obviously like a club bruiser, they don't dominate games and things like that. But some of the scores for defenders within poorer sides, they can score really well, you know. And it's funny you should mention it because I've been looking at it for like the last week or so, all like what would be classed as the weaker teams in Belgium. And I tried to have a look at Russia as well.
Looking forward to Russia coming back. That, you know, the Russian market is definitely it's definitely been overlooked now a little bit, with maybe the exception of like your Maximenkos and your Safanovs, but a lot of the players now are definitely just getting pushed to the side. You know, you do need to wait 4 weeks to see anything from them at this current point in time. And if you are new, I can understand the need for instant productivity, but there's definitely, you know, some great bargains. I picked up, I don't know if you've seen this guy, his name's Ilza Akhmatov, right?
Right.
He's at CSKA Moscow. The only reason I know who he is because somebody tried to trade me the super rare of him for my rare Yari Versharin. And I thought, that's weird. The guy wants to trade me a super rare for a rare. Anyway, I looked into it and he had a big injury. But I think he should be coming back from it after this break. He played the last game before Christmas. And he's a little kind of number 6 midfielder. He wears number 7, which I like, you know. Little things like that, you know, wee details. That, you know, if somebody wears number 7 for their club, they've got to be a player. Yeah, I mean, you don't no dud gets a number 7 shirt. He's like 23. That's how I knew, or I thought anyway, Sancho would be big at Dortmund, because when they signed him from City, they gave him number 7 straight away. You know, and they're just like they are going to play him. Anyway, I digress. But anyway, I picked that guy up for 0.028. And, you know, I would expect him to be quite in line with, see, I've got 2 guys in my gallery there now, Aaron Ramsey and Peter Zielinski. I would expect this Akhmatov to be right in a line with their kind of scores when they get up and playing again. And he's in the team. And he's under 23. And he picks somebody up for, you know, 0.3 of an ETH, basically. What would you call that? Just under 30 quid, 25 quid, something like that?
Yeah.
Very
I know who you're talking about now, because I'm just having a look. It's funny enough, there were a load of CSK Moscow players up on auction this afternoon.
Oh, was there?
Was how you bought? No, you bought him 10 days ago, yeah?
I traded Mark. You'll never walk alone. He got it as a reward, and I was just like, I'll give you market. I was like, I'll give you the last bid. He's like, cool.
He looks, and the thing is, Quinny, when they're playing for such dominant sides as well, domestically. You know, I'm going to go against what I said about the defenders, but like midfielders and strikers, when they're playing for dominant teams domestically, it's hell of an advantage, obviously.
Yeah. Let's see, even my new big card I'm excited about, Nemeka, he shot a 55 and his team lost 2-0. You know, so for like a number 9 striker, not to, you know, to lose 2-0, that's a good result. I'm happy with anyway. But yeah, it's like, because it's, even though Charleroi or whatever you want to call them, even though they won the game, you know, they're you know, it doesn't seem anyway that they've dominated the match in any respect. If the losing striker can get that amount of involvement,
what you touched on with Russia, for me, at this moment in time, as of today, that's where the bargains are for me.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously the winter break, I obviously research mainly cheaper players because that's obviously my budget. And where I'm finding them is mainly Russia, bit of Mexico. Belgium seems to be a lot higher now than, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and that's obviously down to the user base growing.
Yep.
And people wanted to pick up bargains, but Russia for me at this moment in time, that's where I'm looking to get my bargains. Winnie, if you just allow me to as well, because I want to make a quick shout out.
Of course.
I don't know
Charge on.
I don't know whether you've seen it on Twitter. There's a guy called Irish Villain.
Yep, I know Irish.
Irish Villain. I don't know whether you've seen me post something on Twitter a couple of days ago, but he very kindly gave me a player, Konstantin Kucherchev from CSK.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I did see that tweet. Yeah, you thanking him for it. I did see that.
So just thanks. Just want to give him a thanks on here as well, if I can, mates, because it's
No, of course.
unbelievable gesture, you know. And I wasn't expecting it. You know, I woke up and it was there, and I didn't know what it was. You know, the offer was there, and I was thinking, "What's going on?"
Where the fuck did I get there?
Still dreaming. So, no, but this is the community in general. I've never seen anything like it.
No.
You know, and McBride has also sorted me out over Christmas with things and stuff. So thanks to him as well. You know, but the community is just outstanding. You know, it's top notch.
Yeah, no, I echo everything you just said there. I was actually chatting to McBride earlier today, which is always good fun. Chatting players, he got himself in a mobile today. I don't know if he put a tweet out. I don't think it's a secret.
What a player! What a card that is. He's absolutely buzzing, and I don't blame him, to be fair, because it's considering, because I think he made the point on the tweet to me, on how far we've come in like 6 months.
Yeah.
He was on, I think, in July. I came on in August or something like that. Where we are now to where we started from is just unbelievable, And he's one of the good guys, McBride. He helped me from the very beginning. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be on the platform.
I don't think I have any interactions with anyone who I don't think is either sound good guy to talk to, knows something about football or whatever. So no, I echo everything you said there, mate. The community involvement has been fantastic. So no problem. Shout outs, I love them, especially when it's acts of kindness. Love it. So the game week we're in this game week, right, is a bit busier, 135 than we had on the last one. Okay, so La Liga, it looks like we've got pretty much a full roster out there. I don't know if I see Real Madrid. In fact, no Real Madrid, which is interesting. But Atleti are there, Valencia are there. Championship, there's nothing there for us. West Ham are playing West Brom. I was thinking, did that game not just happen? But no, I'm tripping. Liverpool, Burnley, and there's another couple of cards floating about. Man United, Man City, whatever, but nothing. This could be dangerous this game week. In the Bundesliga, we've got a new club coming out this week. I suspect it is a Bundesliga team, so it might be one of these guys jumping on board. But the fixture, Jesus, man, Leverkusen, I think I want to avoid them again. But what we were just chatting about, sometimes on being on the losing side, or like I've said in the past, being in a hard match, isn't necessarily a negative. We've got Schalke, we've got Bayern.
Why do you think it's a German club coming on?
Really? Because see the little hint
why do you think it's going to be a
See, like the little hint they done a selection of flags. They said this is a clue, and I'm thinking that could easily be like a match day squad of 18. So then the next step in that logic is the home nationality must be there somewhere, and the only big five league nationality that was there was German. So I was thinking maybe it's a German squad. And then if you look at Hoffenheim and if you look at who's my other guess, Werder Bremen, they've got both of them have all but one of those nationalities in their squad, which then,
right.
I then think, maybe there's maybe there's an under 18 player, or this website I'm looking at doesn't know everyone, perhaps, so Hoffenheim or Bremen, I said they've got all those nationalities bar one, which makes wouldn't be a good clue if it wasn't accurate. So it probably isn't one of them. It could be. But then the reverse of that logic is maybe all those flags is the foreign nationals in the squad, in which case German would then be a foreign national. So then maybe it's a Spanish team or something else, So it might not be just as easily. The logic isn't exact. But we'll see what happens.
I got the last one wrong.
Oh, I've not got any of them right.
The last one, I was so wrong. I thought it was, I don't know, because I seen the first hint was Lineker and Boller or something. So yes. I thought that it was Club America, because they both scored there in the '86 World Cup.
Oh, nice.
That's how it was. But obviously way off. It was River Plate. I was close, but not close enough.
Yeah.
It's but it's great just to have any team coming on. It's, for me, on a smaller budget, even though it's great to have the likes of Liverpool, Real Madrid, all these big teams. But for me, looking for bargains, I'm not going to get any at Liverpool, and
I think the two clubs exactly you're talking about there. I think a part of that will be that they're bundle and reward only. In terms of the distribution of them, so you're not going to get that 2 a.m. little snipe on the reserve goalkeeper, that Lunen or whatever his name is, or in their kind of academy. They're you have to win them, which is just pure luck, RNG, or you're going to slump up for a bundle. So that's a wee bit disappointing with Liverpool and Real Madrid. That's the way they've went. But I'm sure the guys at SoRare, they've had their hands tied. That's probably just been the best agreement for all involved, or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it does make, if you're trying to snipe one and maybe this guy might play next year, it's going to be hard. You're waiting on somebody in the secondary market to get desperate, essentially, or a bit of pot luck and winning one.
Absolutely. I just think as well, Quinny, when it's not a fashionable club, because the names are not so well known to people.
Yeah.
If you do your research on them, you can pick some massive bargains up. The prime example was Diego Valdez. When that Mexican team, Santos, came out.
Yep.
Because he'd been injured and COVID and whatever, his last 5 scores with nothing to write home about. McBride picked, I think, 3 up for about under the tenner. I got 2, and he's a class act. He scored 75 again on the weekend.
Wow.
So I think it's an advantage to people playing on a smaller budget when lesser teams come on board, if that makes sense. Because there's definitely, you go through that River Plate side, the latest team that were announced, some of those players, some of their scores, they're up there with the very best on the platform,
Yeah, De La Cruz looks good. And De La Cruz, as far as a premium midfielder goes, is quite cheap when I've seen him go.
Yeah.
He's not like 0.3 or 0.4. You can get him less than 0.2, no problem, I would say, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've not followed all of his auctions, but I've seen a few of them.
But that's the point, Quinny, because they're not unfashionable side, but they're not in the big teams.
Yep.
They go for a lot less than players of the same sort of caliber, but for a lot less, So
because I know McBride. I'm pretty sure it's McBride anyway. Got a super rare. I think it was a Dutch guy at Fenerbahce. I think it was McBride.
Yes.
If it wasn't, sorry, mate, but I'm pretty sure it was. So sometimes, and with the exception of the first super rare I got, the Trippier, the next one I got after that was Ruffier, and most, I think I speak for most managers on this, but the first super rare you go for, most of the time it is going to be subprime. You're not going to be, the first super rare you buy is going to be a Vlasic or, something like that. It's going to be something that you're taking a bit of a punt on and you're trying your hand. And sometimes those clubs, they can open the door to a cheeky super rare for you just because nobody's looking, nobody's scratching beneath the surface. It's at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's at 8 in the morning. Doesn't matter when, I suppose, depending on who we're talking about. And you can grab it for a snipe,
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's, regardless of what people want to put on Twitter who don't know about the platform, there are bargains galore on this platform right now today.
Yeah,
it's a fact. If you do your research and you've got a bit of knowledge and you're willing to put the time in, there are many bargains on there. And well, I know there are, because you know that's how I play the game, and it's, you know, I haven't got the budget to play where I can buy all the household names. I've got to do it this way, and I'm telling, I you know, I don't know how to word this without sounding, you know, arrogant, whatever. I'm telling people there are bargains out there under 30, 40 quid. There are hundreds of them out there.
No problem at all.
And, you know, it's and
well, I'll be straight with you, mate. See when I joined the platform, I forget exactly when it was. It was like July or something like that, maybe June. The first thing I thought, coming from FI and Footstock and everything else, was I just thought, right, if I was going to buy new players on these platforms, who would I buy? And I quickly got myself to like 10 players quite easy. And the players I got, yeah, they were cheaper then than they are now for a variety of reasons. But when you take that same kind of attitude, because I've always been a smaller trader on Football Index anyway, my portfolio has never surpassed £2,000 and it's averaged around £1,000 the whole time I've been on that platform. And little guys that were about to hit some form, come into the team, blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, that will remain true. The advantage, or I think why people won't appreciate how transferable that is because in Football Index, for example, you've got the top 5 leagues and the top 5 leagues only, and you can have as many players as they put on it. But because, you know, just the wider this net goes, as you say, you know, your River Plates come in, your Fenerbahce's come in, as well as Liverpool, Real Madrid, whatever. Some teams will be overlooked, and it's the same as players on any platform of any kind. You know, there'll always be a FIFA player that is like 82 rated, but when you actually play them in the match, they're shit hot amazing just because of the background stats. And, you know, so anyway, my point being is there's value in, you know, all calibers of football, different things. If you know what to look for the appropriate game you're playing, I suppose. But absolutely, with that in mind, what do you rate of let's say my last 3 signings, Ian, right? So the last guy I've picked up is Maz Miyaga. I got number 1 of 100 on the new faces power hour last night. And the like centre back, 0.039 he cost me.
That's a bargain. It's a bargain. However, Anderlecht, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Vincent Kompany's not yet, I don't think, is he? From what I can see from afar.
I just can't see it lasting there, to be honest. It's just, I watched some of their games. They've been woeful.
Oh yeah,
they really have. There just seems to be. There just doesn't seem to be any system there. You know, they've got some, you know, top players, you know, but they don't. They don't look a team to me, you know. And it looks like Bruges are going to run away with it. But the player himself, I think he's top.
Yeah,
top quality.
I'm surprised he's still 24. I thought he was a little bit older. I've went and got myself another Carlos SoRare. So I sold my SoRare maybe last year. Done a wee bit of profit on him, which was nice. But then I was missing them. I was missing a few of the cards I sold, and I thought, can I get them back cheaper than what I sold them for? And then I've seen this guy. He's a fraction cheap, more expensive, I beg your pardon, than what I sold him for. But he is 1 of 100 from last season. So I thought, why the fuck not? Let's go and get that. And then I finally went and got Big Sexy, Big Daddy Cool himself, Leon Goretzka, into the squad. 0.421 ETH that cost me on an auction. It's a big one, but he's one of these players that, I've said it before, with like Oblak and Hakimi, and there's a couple of others. It doesn't matter what clubs come on this platform. There's a few players that when they're available to me, I am getting them, and that's just the bottom line on it. Doesn't matter, you know, who's on the platform or who isn't. If they're there, I'm taking them, you know.
I had it when I was on FI. Well, I'm still on it, but hardly play it, but Goretzka, he was a hold of mine. I really rate the guy.
Oh, he's brilliant.
I think, you know, obviously it's difficult playing at a club like Bayern Munich because they've got so many options, but I think he's a top class player. I rate him really highly, and solid too.
Yeah.
My biggest mistake was selling him. I made a massive amount of profit in terms of percentage wise, but I think I picked SoRare up for 9 quid and I sold him for like 55 quid.
Oh.
But I wanted to get my team for America sorted, so we financed it, you know.
Oh, brilliant.
So, but in hindsight, and if I had the money where I didn't have to sell him, you know,
But the situation with Carlos Soler, right? See if you think about when me and you joined, right? Or definitely when I joined, Ferran Torres was still a Valencia player. And this is true on FI and everything else as well. But Ferran Torres is like, oh, he was the big guy in Valencia. But I remember the year before Ferran Torres came out, it was, oh, Carlos Soler, this guy at Valencia is amazing. Carlos Soler's like 22 now, Ferran Torres is 19. So when I come on this again, like, I got both of them in fact, but when I seen the price of Soler, I didn't remember what I paid for him, maybe 12 quid or something. But I was like, that's just mental. I can, £12 doesn't matter what the currency is or the rest of it. £12 to use Carlos Soler for the rest of my life potentially is good value for money at 22 years of age.
He's a top class, but he'll go. For me, he's good enough for Barcelona or Real Madrid, Soler.
Yeah, I think the top Valencia players go to top clubs, really, don't they?
Yeah, I think he's heading right to the top. He's because they're a poor side, Valencia. To be fair, this season they're in big trouble.
They're a shambles for about a decade, I think.
If they can have Rodrigo back from Leeds, though, they can have him back. I'll drive him back to Spain.
Oh, do you not fancy him?
He doesn't. I'm surprised Bielsa signed him, to be fair, because he just doesn't work.
Oh, really?
And with a Bielsa side, that's the first and foremost you've got to do. You've got to run your balls off.
Of course.
And he just doesn't. I don't know. He just looks disinterested to me. You can tell he's quality, like touches on the ball. He possesses. Technically, he's probably Leeds' best player on the ball with Rafinha, but his work rate has got a lot to be desired for me. He just, I don't know. He doesn't. I don't see him fitting into Leeds' system either, to be fair. But going back to Soler, I think he's top notch. I was hoping on the slide that when I did sell him, I didn't think that he was going to keep the form up that he's shown throughout the season. I thought he was going to go back down and I could buy back in on him, but obviously that's backfired because he's I think he's about 140 150 quid now, but he's worth every penny for me.
Nice, top notch. In the Jupiter League, I keep calling it Jupiter, I think we all do that, but it's an L, not a T. The Jupiter League, is there any fixtures that stand out to you this week? I'm going to load up in 2 or 3 of those guys, or you don't need to name names, of course, but is there any fixture you think that might be where I get some winners this week?
Well, I'm hoping, because that's where my global and challenger is just full of Belgians. Not that I've got any interest in terms. I've got the odd player, but I think Anderlecht and Sporting, Charleroi, that's a massive game because they're both in poor form.
Yeah.
So I think that's a massive game in terms of the context of both clubs. In terms of, I'm assuming, because the deadline is tomorrow, there's a game kicking off on Wednesday, Cortic versus St. Truden or whatever they're called.
Yep.
15:30. So I mean,
that's in. Yeah, 3:30.
That's obviously going to be included as well.
Yeah, it's included. Yeah, January the 20th.
Yeah.
3:30.
It looks like there's almost a full fixture in that Belgian league this week.
Yep. 7 games.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Mechelen players, however you pronounce that. So I'm hoping. Yeah, Club Brugge, because Oostende are not a bad side either, to be fair. And Club Brugge are at home, but they're so dominant that they're far superior than any other team in that league.
Yeah.
But saying that, it wouldn't surprise me if Oostende go there and win, because Paul Clement's in charge of Club Brugge, and I don't particularly rate him that very highly either.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a very lucky man, Paul Clement, for me. Was he, a PE teacher or something?
Well, he's
Chelsea with the kids.
Well, he's got a good pedigree, man. If you look at the guy's CV, it's hard to. I'm not going to profess to know much about him other than his basic CV. Being at Real, following about Ancelotti basically. But
wasn't he a PE teacher, and he took the kids to Chelsea, and then he got a job isn't that the story? Someone liked him at Chelsea and said, "Oh, do you want to come and work here and coach the kids a year or something?" And then it's just spiraled. He's done nothing at any. When he's been the main man, he's failed every club.
Yeah,
but I think he's a very lucky guy, and I think me or you could manage Club Bruges and do what he's doing there, to be fair.
Well, I would love to, and if the chairman and directors of Club Bruges are listening, I do have UEFA badges, so I would be partially qualified to do something for them. Probably not.
I'll be your assistant, no problem.
Yeah, there you go. So Bruges, if Bruges got a cricket score, I don't think we'd be too surprised. But Ostend have got some fan favourite cards in there. So, like, you know, there's a few.
I love Ostend, but even though it wouldn't surprise me that they got a positive result there, I'm not that confident because I haven't entered any of the players. To be fair,
Genk versus Ghent. Have you get anything on that?
Sorry, mate.
Genk versus Ghent. Have you get anything on that?
Yeah, I mentioned to you on stream about Fortuna.
Yes.
Or Fortune.
He's been doing amazing since then. I've noticed him on the market anyway, going for decent numbers. I think his SR was up the other day or something. I noticed him. And I think he's been putting some good numbers on the board. But yeah, it seems I talk to so many people, and a lot of people want to talk to me about players in particular. I lose, honestly, track so easily of who I was talking to who about, and I always feel bad I'm going to give somebody credit for something they've not done and look over somebody. So, Fortuna, that was one of yours. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you, but he seems to be doing well.
The problem with him, Winnie, is Ghent. I don't know what's going on with them either, because they're in a terrible patch. They got beat again at home yesterday or the day before, but he still posted like a 51 in a 1-0 defeat. He gets the tackles in and whatever, but on another side, in Belgium is Zult for Gem.
Yep.
And I don't know whether you've noticed them popping up on Twitter, Winnie. We've got a few Belgians on SoRare now who were actually on Twitter, so they're very, very useful. Because the Ostend game on Saturday or Sunday, it was going to be, I don't know whether you've seen the pictures of the ground, but they had terrible snow.
Yeah.
The game was in doubt, but he was sending me pictures from his house.
It looked like they painted the lines black for the pictures I seen.
What's that?
It looked like they painted, see the lines on the pitch, it looked like they painted them black from the picture I seen. You know, I don't know if that was just the colour of the grass or whatever, but it looked like they painted them black. But I looked mental as a pure throwback because you just don't get games in the snow anymore, you know?
No. It's but those guys, they're ready available on Twitter, and people should use them because their knowledge, you know, that they've got, you know, they're very knowledgeable people, and they've got an advantage because they obviously know the Belgian league inside out. They're, you know, fanatical supporters of their clubs, you know. So it's a very, you know, it's you can pick up some useful information from them, which I've tried to do. And they're good guys, to be fair. So, you know, and I'm sure anyone on Twitter who's listening to this who want to know about look them up because they're there.
Yeah.
And
everyone, again, I've not came across anyone who's not happy to help or chat players or clubs or anything, you know. So definitely,
and that's the beauty.
Don't be shy on the threads. You know, if you want to say something, ask something. No such thing as a stupid question. Only stupid people. I'm only joking.
but that's the, you know, in all seriousness, Grinny, at the end of the day, we're all competing against each other because it's obviously a league and whatever. But like you said, everyone is willing to help anyone on, you know, to a head start or whatever, to help them start out, help them wherever they are in their journey. People are genuinely happy to help people, and it's incredible because at the end of the day, we are competitive. We're competing against them. We're competitors, you know.
Yeah.
But it's for me, the community. It just makes the project even better, you know, because I've never come across one bad person.
Well, the great thing about the backbone of what we're talking about here is it's a game, and you know, fair enough. Yes, we are all competing against each other, but it is a game, you know, and whenever you play any game, it doesn't matter what it is, you always want to talk to people about it. You always want to, there's always a social and a friend, you know, companion kind of aspect to games and interactions. So, whereas, you know, other kind of things you might worry about, people know, it doesn't really matter. I'm not getting into it. One thing I was actually, but yeah, community fantastic. Belgians, get on their threads and don't be shy, especially as well. I'd say that with any of the guys that come on that are like J League and K League specialists, because again, trying to get information out there can be troubling. and really anyone.
David Peters, I've got to give a shout out to him as well.
Yeah, David's the
Speech
man.
of the day. What a man he is. His knowledge is absolutely frightening.
It's legend.
He is my Bielsa of fantasy football of every league, basically. He is simply
He knows his stuff, man.
You know?
It sees the day 23. But what was just catching my eye, Ian, is in the Global All-Star, we're under 1,000 entrants. Now, it is the night before the deadline, right? We'll probably get over the 1,000. But I actually thought the game week was actually quite primed for a lot of entries, but maybe some people don't have full squads capable or whatever. But anyone who is sitting there with maybe potentially only 3 players playing, please get your teams in. You know, you only need to shoot 205, and I've seen people hit 205 with 3 cards. So don't just stick them all in training. Just stick them in.
No, exactly.
You know,
Quinny, the special this week as well.
Yes, I like the special this week. It's there's a cap on the average score for the last 5 games of 50. So it's all bad cards basically. But I'm not going to enter a team this week, right? But do you know who I could put in it? All Black can go in it. His average score is 45, believe it or not. And somebody else, quite impressive. I was going to say Trippier, but I think his ban has just been upheld as of today. So I'm going to hold fire on talking Trippier. And FYI, anyone with Trippier, watch out for the news. Goretzka, his last scores are under 33 because he's got 2 DNPs there. And then Snodgrass as well, because he's got a lot of DNPs. He could be a wee sneaky one. And the last forward, who could I get out? Ika Ugbo. Leroy Sané just about squeezes under. He's got an average score of 51. Don't know how he quite manages to get in this, but there we go. Or I could put Sorloff.
It won't let you when you try to submit it if it's over 51.
Oh, well, no, I thought this was only showing me who was available. Sorry.
Right. Because, Quinny, am I right in thinking as well, there's no power on it, so
no power.
The rare would score the same as a unique card?
Exactly, yep.
So that could be a reason why there's not as many as a global this week, because they could be all in that.
If that is the case, I would urge everyone to check the prize pool and look at the special weekly.
Yeah.
There is 290 entrants, only 10 win anything. So if you have put your eggs in that basket, it's your decision, and I'll back your decision no matter what it is, but that would not be mine.
No, mine.
So I'm going to relook at my goal. I've already done my teams already, right? So I felt it got a bit tedious me going through and picking and trying to get suggestions, whatever, out the live chat, because sometimes people just sort of like, pick your fucking team, you know. So this is the lineup I'm going with for D4 this game week. Wellenreuter and Jack Hendry. That's a little combination there that's starting to pay off. The Wellenreuter had let me down last game week by 17, but I'm hoping he keeps a clean sheet. We can do some well with him. Hendry, as we know, the Scottish Ruben Dias. I've got my new boy Leon Goretzka showing up. Expect him to play and dominate. Sané, I've made him captain because Gnabry went off in the last game injured, and I think that all but guarantees that Sané will start. And if Sané starts, I'm quite confident he can get 70-ish minutes and get another score of about 74 or 73. And Sorloff is my wild card or my extra card in the squad. I'm just trying to think if there's a good reason for that in particular. I think I've not got too many other players I would bank on, but I think, do you know what I mean? So Wirtz has been out injured. I've got SoRare back. Oh no, he's in D3. Kamada, they've just signed Jovic, so I don't know what they're going to do in their squad, who's going to start for Frankfurt, so I'm not going anywhere near it. Alario doesn't look likely to start recently. Under's always, I've not got that many options, in fact. But Sorloff didn't feature at all in the last game, right? And I've been kind of following or studying Leipzig, if you like, for the last 2 seasons quite well. And sometimes that kind of thing will mean that he might actually start the next match. You know, if you've got consistent runs, like coming off the bench and doing well, you then might not feature at all. And then they'll give you 90 or they'll start you at least and then rotate you out. But the game also, he didn't come off the bench for, was a game they really had to fight to get anything out of. So I don't know if that maybe tells something in itself. So it could go either way with that one. But I'm quite happy that in the worst case scenario, he will just come off the bench. Because Union Berlin, away to Leipzig should dominate that in terms of possession and crosses and all the rest of it.
What's your opinion on Wellenreuter then, Quinny? Because he's not back now until April, is he?
Who?
Kronberg, is it?
Van Kronbruch.
Van Kronberg. And has he come out and said he wants to leave? Am I right in thinking that?
Well, that's news to me. Who wants to leave? Van Kronbruch or Wellenreuter?
Van Kronbruch wants to leave.
Cool. I think there was some chat of that anyway. Like pre-season, before the season started. You didn't say Wellenreuter was injured there, did you?
Oh no, he's not injured.
Just making sure I'm not tripping.
No, he's not injured. It's just the other keeper. I'm sure I've seen something on Twitter. Someone had it might have been one of those Belgian folks that had posted something in an interview on a Belgian newspaper or something, that even when he's back from injury, he wants to go. He's not interested in staying next season. So,
well, fair play.
That's why I'm asking.
But well on route, I like him. He's 24, and like, see, when I looked into him before I bought him, and I was absolutely raging that I never bought him sooner when I looked at him, because I like will I pull it up on screen? I think I'll try. So when I looked into him and I seen his track record, his kind of career path, I thought, this guy is like well under my radar. I should have known this. I should recognize his name. I shouldn't know him necessarily, but I should definitely be familiar with him, because he has, for such a young guy at 24, which in goalkeeping terms is probably equivalent to 18, really, for being honest, in terms of career from now. He could play till 40, he could easily have another 15 years in him, all things being well. Anderlecht, sorry, I'm just taking a wee second to jump into this. I'll stick it on screen. But for somebody so young, he also has the number 1 jersey. And again, I've kind of spoke about earlier when I was chatting about number 7, but he has the number 1 jersey. And again, if you're signing for a club and they're giving you the number 1 jersey, that's not an accident. No, you don't sign a backup goalkeeper and give him number 1. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
When I do it on the website, brilliant. So there we go. Because I'm on Flash Scores, I'm just going to get the screen up for the people at home watching. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Sorry, just the way I've got this all set up with the streaming software and whatever.
That's all right.
But I'm sure you trust me to walk you through it. So basically, let's just throw it up. It's just a little tip, that's something, but it's just so people recognize this stuff. This is Flash Scores. I've just clicked into his name. You can look at his last matches, blah, 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 right? But what I like about Flash Scores is it will show me like how many, a nice snapshot overview of their career. So in 2014-15, right, which is nigh on 6 years ago, so he would have been 18. He made 8 appearances for Schalke in the Bundesliga. He then played 33 games in the Segunda division, which is the second division in Spain, for Mallorca. 33 starts, right? Mallorca would be a top team in that league because they're former La Liga. And then in Holland, he spent 2017 up to the end of 2020 with Willem II, and he's amassed just about 70 starts over 3 seasons in Holland, which is a decent feeder league, as we know. He then moves to Anderlecht and gets the number 1 jersey. So I look at that. He's played for Schalke a couple of times. Okay, that's decent. Mallorca, a full season in a competitive league, and then 3 seasons in Holland for a kind of mid-table, bottom-end side. So I like him a lot. I think he's got a lot of potential, a lot of promise. And I say, if you sign a goalkeeper and you give him the number 1 jersey, it doesn't happen by accident, Yeah, somebody's seen him, they like him, they're like, this is the guy for us.
Absolutely. I can see, not that I obviously know got no inside info. From what I've read, I can see him retaining the number 1 shirt, even when Van is back, to be honest. And if he's got that attitude that he wants to leave, then I can't see him getting back into the side, in all honesty.
McBride's made out like a bandit on him. I know McBride snapped up a few of them, picked up an SR as well. They managed to flip them quite nicely. And the All-Star D3, so this is my big team I'm putting out this game week. So All Blacks and goals. Trippier actually might need dropped. I need to really investigate because FIFA said they're upholding the thing. I need to make sure that's not going to do me over. We've then got Carlos SoRare back in, and we've got Lucas Nemeka, one of the star cards, and we've got solid man himself, Crepin Diatta. It's my extra card, and he's my striker. But I'm going to need to perhaps investigate defence again, because I think Trippier is going to miss out. I don't know if I've got any other spare super rares or anything, because if I'm taking him out, Amiri, I know Amiri will play, and then I could. No, don't think Amiri's going to score as well as. Sorry, I'm kind of talking to myself now. Your D4, how's that looking this game week?
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no one else to talk to, is there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at something, and then I heard you, and I thought, Christ, what's he asking? My D4, hopefully, for the game week coming up, as long as Macklin and Zult can perform, then all I look to do realistically, because I think this is another thing I would. I was speaking to, is it MDJ on Twitter earlier?
Yep.
I think, depending on people's budgets, they've got to be realistic as well on what they can, achieve when they start on the platform and things. You can't be putting 200 quid in and expecting to be winning tier 1s and tier 2s and things like that.
Of course.
All I aim is for the 2F every game week. If I win any more, it's a bonus. But as long as I hit that 2F every game week, that's all I care about, to be quite frank.
It's your building blocks,
Sorry?
It's your building blocks.
Absolutely. It's, it keeps me in the game, Quinny. I love the product. I love buying players that I've never heard of, or I've researched into them. Half, well, I would say more than half. I'd say about 90% of the port, before I joined SoRare, I wouldn't have known that they were even footballers, But that for me is the beauty of a global platform.
Totally.
And it definitely helps me on a budget the size of mine, because, like I said, I couldn't afford to buy the household name. So
it's all about timing as well, like with the marketplace and whatever, because some of the guys that I've sold recently for good profits, like I'm just trying to think of, like Danilo, Leon Bailey, even Carlos SoRare, when I sold them out, I was buying those guys when there was no European football, and I did get them cheap on two fronts, and for a variety of reasons, and I've managed to sell them quite well. And again, like we were chatting about at the top of the show, like with Russia, we're not really. I've made videos about a month ago. They're all kind of coming out over the weeks, but MLS and Asia off season, that'll be coming back soon. But there will be a time when these European cards do go down in price, just because of the fact that they won't be playing football. So if you're kind of missing out this season on, like, trying to think of a kind of mid-range card, maybe like an Isco. I know he's probably quite naff actually for this example, because he's not playing at the moment. But maybe even something like SoRare, SoRare's up at 156 now. But come the summer when there's no football, he's not like a top end sexy card, So if you drop down to 0.08 or something over the summer, it wouldn't really surprise me.
No.
Or external factors aside, of course, or even there's a few examples you could make that for. But I think even when you're on that kind of budget, as well as one thing I benefited from as well, is making sure you plan in terms of positioning your purchases, because what I went through a wee phase of just buying, and obviously I was winning a lot of cards also, so I put on a lot of outfield players, and then in a very short period of time I had to go and add like 4 goalkeepers just to keep up with it. And adding 4 goalkeepers at number one, I wanted, if I'm going to be spending money on them, I would at least have wanted 1 or 2 of them to be useful, and I don't mind spending something nominal on a training goalkeeper, because you accept that is going to pay itself in a way in terms of helping you rank some cards up in the background and whatever else. But it's because I can imagine myself maybe 3 years ago, if I didn't, and maybe there's people out there listening to this and maybe in this situation that I've not realised it, but you can just come on and you can get a wee bit trigger happy, and you're like, oh, buy him, and oh, he looks like a great defender, and oh, that guy, he could be a top goal scorer in the next couple of years, whatever. And then you take a step back and you look at it and you go, I've got 19 defenders, I've got 8 midfielders, and I've got 2 strikers, or whatever. And you're like, what the fuck do I do all that? That could happen to people quite easily. So I definitely recommend, and it's the only advice I really give anyone, really, if you boil it all down, is, follow your gut, whatever your gut's telling you, that's probably the best thing you should do.
100%. It's, the end of the day, Quiddy, it's we've been on the platform for long enough now to be able to help people starting on the mistakes that we made from the beginning. Even on a small budget, I was buying players for the sake of buying them, and it's just a waste of money, because it was just the novelty aspect. Oh, I'm new on this, I want to buy him, I want to buy, and it's just, you get carried away with it. And we've got the experience now to help others not make the similar mistakes that we made when we first joined the platform, because it's, at the end of the day, it's wasted money, it's dead money. You're never probably going to use the player, so why even have him?
Exactly.
And it's but
I do have a few cards like that. I don't mind holding a few cards like that now and again. Like I'm just looking at my screen now. I got Pity Martinez or Gonzalo Martinez, whatever you want to call him, cost me a pretty penny at the time. He was involved in winning me at least one reward. I can remember that much. But 0.126 ETH at the time, 35 quid. It's quite anyway. He fucked off to Qatar or wherever he is, and I've still got him as a favourite on my SofaScore app. And he is fucking tearing it up, by the way. He starts every game. He scores and assists like mad. And I'm just like, please move in January. Please move in January. 26. Yeah, I mean, he won like South American Player of the Year like a year or two ago. Anyway, point being, I didn't buy him as a dead card in air quotes.
No.
He's became one. But you know what? I can sit on that. And, you know, if it's 27, 28 before I see him again, actually do something for me. I'll be one of the only people that has him.
Yes.
You know, so there's a time and a place for everything, I think, but it's just making sure that when you are like, sometimes I know I'm being frivolous, you know, I might go and maybe buy like the Miazga I wanted, right, but I didn't have in my to-do list buy Miazga, you know, but it came up and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to buy that, I want it. And there's a time and a place for that. But again, equally, I've been sitting on a bit of ETH and I was like buying this player, that player, or that player, and I ended up with the Mecha. He was one of the guys on my list, so
it's discipline as well, Quinny. You know, you've got F in the account, and you think I got to spend it. You know, and it's crazy how your mind thinks. But you know, just there's F there. I've got to spend it, but only spend it on the players you want, because, like you said, you get unbalanced teams. You've got 24 defenders and one striker. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know, you've got to just think it out before you actually go ahead. And that's why I think even these new users now, I always say, before you start by, just use it in the rookie leagues for the first week, first game week, 2 game weeks, whatever. So you just get an idea on how the whole process and the whole game works, basically. Because, you know, the last thing you want to start encouraging people to do is depositing money, and they're just, you know, going a bit crazy with it, not really knowing what they're doing, you know. And it's you can pick a lot up just through the rookie league, you know, on how just the basic stuff.
I know we're talking about value for money and all the rest of it, but there's a super rare Crepindiata up on auction now. It's
you can buy it for me, Quinny. I'll gratefully receive it from you.
If only I could afford to be that generous, I most certainly would.
I know, what a cracking, he's a cracking player, mind.
He's up at about 1 ETH now with 11 minutes to go. I was looking at it before I came on the stream and I thought, do you know what? If that did hang about 0.6 or something, I would probably just, you know, you might get lucky sometimes, but nah, no chance for somebody as big ticket as him. I'll put a coin already, give or take.
Because I don't know whether you noticed, Quinny, especially like when I first started, the bargains generally used to be like 3-4 in the morning when everyone was asleep.
Oh mate, I used to love sniping in the morning. And, you know, but there's a lot of time zones now as well, which does play a factor, and there's other people doing it.
And with the lockdown, I don't think anyone sleeps anymore because they seem to be on there like every minute of the day, you know. So I must be, because I notice it.
Yeah,
I must be one of them, you know. But it's bonkers. It's just, I don't know. I can't praise the product enough, to be honest. It's just fantastic. I love it. Nothing comes close to it.
Yeah.
Nothing that I've tried anyway, and I've tried most of it. But Quinny, if I can, I just want to, because there was comments made on Twitter earlier this morning, and I know you liked the comment with regards to someone querying, you know, I put something, well, I started in August, and they're saying, well, you can't cite August because F has gone up, prices have gone up, whatever.
Yep.
All I want to make it perfectly clear to anyone who's looking to sign up, and I've, you know, I'm gaining nothing from giving this information out. The way I look at it, if someone knocked my front door today and said, give me £100, and then in a few, you know, it's not going to be instant because obviously some teams are in Russia, players you could buy and whatever. You give me £100 a day, and if F is obviously the same amount, every couple of days in a month or so, I'll come back and start dropping 18, 20 quid to you every 3-4 days.
You take
people would snap their hands off it, you know.
Yeah.
And that is doable, Quinny. I know, you know, people can question it. I could name, and this is the importance of having a a good common goalkeeper, I could buy 4 players now. Not instant, because some of them are not in the leagues that are playing at the moment. I could buy 4 players now for under 50 quid using my common goalkeeper. And when those seasons come back, I'm pretty certain I would win more often than not 0.2F every game week with that side. So people who are commenting who've got no idea on how SoRare works and things, it's just wrong because they don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's one of these things, like if, yeah, it's hard.
Do you think you could do it, Winnie, with your knowledge?
Oh, yeah.
I know you're a very knowledgeable guy.
Oh,
on your football.
100%. Well, the thing is, when I started, I had this exact same motivations as yourself. I got some success a bit quickly, and then, I've had a bit more funds than I've been used to recently in life, just with success and other things and whatever. And I've just been like that, let's go. This makes sense now. I'll buy him and all the rest of it. But even, I don't think I've got the biggest budget. I've definitely not got the smallest. I'm not stupid, but I've not got the biggest budget. I've only spent about $5,000 or something like that, which I know isn't small change, but there's people out there that have spent much more. But again, like the Miazka, even the SoRare, it doesn't matter how much money you're looking. Even the Akhmatov, right? I done that 10 days ago, right? This guy Akhmatov cost me 0.028, whatever the ETH price is at that point, however much it was, like 25 quid or something. And I'm not on SoRare data, but do you know what? I'll throw it up since we're talking about this, okay? Because I was actually playing up earlier. But this guy, 25 quid, is a great midfielder, plays under 23s as well. And it's just because he's out of the public eye. And again, if you've been watching you were saying earlier on, you've kind of seen my FI stuff over the years. It's always about seeing the crowd coming. It's always about knowing, right, okay, well, the Russian league is going to start back in the end of February. And guess what? Everyone's going to want Russian players to fill in that defender for this game week and all that striker for the next game week. And actually could do another goalkeeper for Challenger, whatever it might be, and picking them up that little bit cheaper. I'm just waiting for SoRare data. It wasn't working too great earlier when I was trying to stream the screen.
I noticed that.
But is it a general problem, do we think? Because I'm not streaming the screen now and it's still been a wee bit dickable with me.
I think it's a general problem because mine, when I'm in ongoing auctions, nothing's loading up and things. But
really?
It will. I think there's something going on, to be honest. It's because I can.
They're maybe upgrading something or whatever. But so Akhmatov again, he's number 7. We spoke about this earlier. I'm not going to bang on about it. But again, I can even flip that, right? You think goalkeepers are expensive? I got this guy 0.148, right? There's only 4 cards of him, and it's the 1 of 100. It cost me less than 0.15. The reason I got him so cheap was primarily the guy wanted the ETH for it, and the J League isn't on at the moment, so it's off season. It's not as much of an interest, to whatever blah blah blah. But 0.148 when that kicks in, he looks to still be an under 23 eligible goalkeeper for me. And you even just need to look at the price of Wellenmutter now. Between a quarter of a coin to a third of a coin is where those kind of goalkeepers will probably find themselves price wise. So to pick him up for something that could easily double in ETH or even in fiat, because 1.45, what's that, about 130 quid back a week ago or so, maybe 140 quid. Could easily get.
But Quinny, seriously now, going back to that, Erich, with the knowledge you've got, which you've obviously built up over the years, just following football and whatever.
Yeah.
If someone closed your SoRare account today and reopened it tomorrow, so you had your complete gallery gone, and someone give you 100 quid, or I'm saying 100, I don't think you need that, but
common goalkeepers only.
Just using a common goalkeeper, do you believe in not necessarily the leagues that are going on at this moment in time, but come March, you could get a team capable of competing for minimum 0.2F in the Division 4 Global?
I think you could maybe just about manage it on 100 quid with European players if you really looked hard enough. There's guys like...
Forget European, just everywhere.
But everywhere makes it even easier, but my point is like, even within the most expensive territory. I reckon you could still round, maybe not quite 100. I might maybe go a wee tiny bit over it, just see how much everything costs. But it's not really that hard, you know, if you're using good common goalkeepers, definitely.
Yeah, it's and this is what I think people are missing. Opportunities like this don't come along in life a lot, or, you know, very regular. From the moment, you know, McBride spoke to me through it all and whatever, and I got my head around it, I just seen an opportunity, and I just thought, well, this is not easy, isn't the right word, because let's make no mistake, I've worked hard researching play. I've spent bloody day and night for a bit because of lockdown and whatever, and I've had more time on my hands and things.
Yeah,
I've dedicated a lot of time to it, so it's not easy in that respect. But in terms of like the returns for such a little investment, because as you know, I put in £257.63 exact.
Yep.
In terms of like the F, just from Division 4 Global, and obviously the promotion over Christmas, and the cards that I've been lucky enough to win in that, with the F as well. You're talking over, it's not just short of 900 quid. You know, since August.
That's amazing.
Now those returns on that little investment is just, and I'm not saying it to brag, but I'm just saying there's an opportunity for people that can do exactly the same, you know, and to pass away an opportunity for such little investment is mind blowing for me. And then you've got people on Twitter arguing, no, it's not possible. It is possible, because I'm not the only one who's doing it. I know that. There's loads of people who are doing it, but the returns are just incredible, mate. And I just, you know, it's mind blowing. You know, I knew there was an opportunity. I didn't think I would ever get to this opportunity, you know, or where I am now with such little investment. But the point I'm trying to make, even today, people say, oh, well, you started in August. F was like a lot cheaper. Players were cheaper. You can still do it now. I know for a fact, if someone give me 100 quid and closed my account down now, I would still be doing it.
Yeah.
Come March, I would be bagging, you know, hopefully 0.2F like I am and have been for like however long it's been, you know. Because at the end of the day, Winnie, budget obviously plays a big part, but it's research. Research is everything, especially on a global platform, because, you know, like I said, 90% of my port, I didn't even know who the hell they were before I bought them.
Yeah.
You know, I researched them. I didn't have a bloody clue. They could have been, I don't know, bus drivers.
I had to do all of that when it came to the Asia drop, you know, when J League first came out. And, you know, MLS, I'd walked away from MLS for a few years just because I was so much into like Football Index and a few other bits and pieces. I just didn't have time to follow that anymore. But when you get into, you know, these wider leagues, you know, the full J League, the full MLS is available. There is so much scope for, and yeah, fair enough. Like, see the three main leagues, right, that operate here. The Jupiter League, the Asia, you know, the J League and MLS.
Yeah.
Those three leagues, right? If, you know, fair enough, they might not be the best leagues in the world or whatever, right? But they do produce a lot of good players. And at the end of the day, I've done anything you can name around football, anything, you know, traditional gambling, you know, all the things, right?
Yeah.
I've been at my work, this is like a long time ago, right? But I've been at my work at, you know, 10 to 11 out in a fag break, looking at my phone and thinking, oh, there's a game about to kick off in Thailand. It looks like it's great for goals. I might stick 12 quid on it, and then by the time I get my next fag break, I'll see if it's won or whatever. You know, the Thailand Premier League, the Czech Republic under 23 division, you know, the Singapore Premier League, all these divisions get gambled on relentlessly across the world.
Yeah.
And it's not because of the caliber of football. It's just because it's an opportunity to make money based on knowledge that you're assessing on football data. This team scores on average 4 goals a game. This team concedes on average 6 goals a game. So this game's going to be a goal fest. And, you know, that's the kind of things people are doing. You just take that same reasoning or thought process, decision-making process, whatever, and you're just applying it to singular players. You know, do I think he's going to have a good season? Do I think he'll get more minutes in the next month than he did in the last month? Is there somebody who is just as good as this guy that's twice as expensive and no one's cottoned on to this guy who's just as good? you know, there's a lot of different angles you can use with that same thought process, that same desire of football, that same fandom, if you like. So no, I'm totally with you. So you can close the account tomorrow and open it back up, give me a nominal budget, and I would definitely fight for the ETH. I don't think that's beyond question, really, to be honest.
No.
But I did really well. I can't remember what game weeks they were, but it was donkeys ago. But I was winning like tier 2 rewards with like common Paul Lopez in goals and common Ronaldo up front with 3 cards in the middle.
I did notice that at the time.
You know, and fair enough, Ronaldo's not an easy common. You know, I think with the draft system now, it'd be quite hard to end up with him. You need to win him in the rookie league. I got him at you just used to spit it out at random. And I said at the time when they were doing the redraft, I was like, I hope to God they don't take this off me. And obviously, I had the option not to redraft. I didn't redraft, so I know I've kind of shot myself in the foot for common goalkeepers. But the common Ronaldo is something I wanted to keep my hands on because it's been in fucking training every week, getting ranked up. And if I can get, in essence, a 60, that's what it'll end up being when he's fully powered up. It'll be 60% of a real Ronaldo at base form, you know, when you first get it from auction. So to get that for nothing, I didn't want to pass it up anyway. Point being, I've done it in the past and I would do it again and I could do it again. And I know, especially as well, the rookie league, see, because you can get 2 rares into that, it just, I think it just makes the onboarding process so much easier and so much more rewarding than what it was when I joined, and no doubt you as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate.
But I'm just going to be looking at the bundles and then we'll probably call it a night about there. Most of the streams have been keeping up about an hour. Do you ever look at the bundles just for a giggle?
I do for a giggle, but they're well out of my price range.
Aye.
I just hope sometimes, like I said, like 4 in the morning, everyone's sleeping, but it never seems to happen anymore.
No, definitely not. There's a few of the bundles I think, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind that one, but I don't want to get stuck with that player. Or see the Real Madrid ones. The ones I always want have got fucking Zidane in it, and I'm like, yeah, sure, the Zidane card is nice, right? But to buy a bundle, I want 5 players. I don't want 4 players in Zidane, you know.
Oh.
I wonder if Zidane. I wonder if you can get Zidane as a reward. By the way, I'd be pretty pissed off if I got it as a reward.
Well, it's funny because the Maradona card. Obviously, before, I don't know who the guy is. He's still on my DM messages. He had recently signed up just before, and he was asking, why is Diego Maradona on there? So I was explaining, well, he was the manager of the Argentinian side. Yep. And he said, I might buy him because I like, you know, it's just a novelty thing. Well, of course, within a couple of days, I messaged you, I think, saying he passed away. Yep. And the value of him now, you know, it's, I'm not saying you would get that, but in time you will. Because obviously of who he was, and Zidane is maybe not as good as Maradona was, but there's still value in him, you know, because you obviously see things that are tweeted about other cards going, okay, they're actual real cards you hold in your hand and whatever, not thing, but some of the prices they're going for are absolutely mental. So there is, but I know what you're saying in terms of, you know, you want 5 players, but I think the potential value of certain players, top class players, you know, your Zidanes and things, there will be a value to them eventually. And I think, I don't know, I've heard rumours that SoRare that are looking at things where they could be included, possibly. Oh,
here, listen, I definitely see there's a place for them in the future if you have enough of them, you know, and it would just basically be, you know, 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 for a loss or something. You know, you could easily do something like that, or, you know, it wouldn't be 1, but it could easily be, I don't know, like if you were to relate it to a player's score, maybe if they lost, they score 20, if they draw 40, and if they win 70 or something, you know, like you could do something like that. You definitely could. I'm not going to, with there only being Maradona and Zidane in those positions there, I'm in no rush to go and get that side of my gallery up and running. But it's definitely a point worth making, and definitely something to keep in mind. Totally. But yeah, but listen, thanks a lot for joining us, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. I know it's kind of short notice as well. With the streams, like, I'm just kind of, because I've programmed all my videos for the month, I always just get to Monday and Thursday and think, oh, what will I do for the stream tonight, and just try and keep it quite natural feeling and whatever, you know. And I thought, I'll get somebody on. I'll get somebody on. Here we are. So listen, thanks a lot for joining us, mate. I really appreciate it. Have you had fun?
100%, mate. Loved it.
So
pleasure being on it. Pleasure being on. You can send me the money later.
What was that? £2.14.
Yeah, nice one, Quinny. Thanks very much for having me on, pal.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.